Welcome back, everyone. And I know, been a long time, but I am here. There's been a multitude of reasons for my absence I made a post about for a while, and mainly it's been due to changes in schedule or PC issues as well I've been having, and most of all, just being lazy and honestly not caring, but I'm back, and I guess that is all that matters, at least for now. But today I wanted to cover a video about getting started in Celtic Heroes and like how to progress through the game. Because this honestly at the end of the day is not a very easy game to get through, and it's quite grindy and not the most user friendly or beginner friendly and stuff. But there are 220 levels and until you hit the soft level cap. And it's going to take you a while to get there. And you're going to see a lot of people who are already there, and, don't ever let it get you discouraged, because a lot of the player base of this game is very long time players who've been playing for years, and so their journeys began a long time ago. And so, just takes time, and eventually, doesn't happen overnight that, become overpowered in this game. But for those who are willing to put in that grind and that effort and go through that journey of meeting tons of new friends and just enjoying this game that we all care about so much, I'm here to help, and hopefully I can provide some insight into it. So mainly when you're first starting out leveling, as I have my noob account here, it's a level 134 druid, and the best ways that you are going to go about leveling up is going to be mainly through quests, leveling with elixirs, and just doing your general daily bounties. Now, to kind of cover those, bounties are quests, one-time quests. They give a lot of golden XP, and they're found here at the bounty board. And those can be completed using bounty pledges, which are these right here. They can be scattered all over. Then you trade them in at the quest guy here. And you get to just do a bounty, and they reset every day. So just complete those, and it will give you a nice steady source of pretty easy XP and income as well for gold when you're going about it. Probably another way is going to be through the basic quest lines in the game. The first one that kind of starts out is going to be through Lord McClure here. And he's going to take you all through Lur's Reach, Brookback Hollow, and then into the catacombs eventually. And after that, there'll be another quest line at about level 45 here in Shalemont. And this will take you all the way to level 60, and it starts in here, just in this camp. At about level 60, you'll have to do a little bit of grinding through Stonevale until you eventually get to the other world, around level 75, and that's when the Arbiter quest line kicks in. I don't see too many people doing this quest line, but it's a really good source to just get XP from, as it can take you from level 70 all the way up to 135 or 140, and that's from Arbiter Caster here. I think it's level 75 that his quests unlock. I might be wrong. You can always correct me in the comments. Just don't be an asshole about it. But that's probably one of the better ways. The best way, and the way that most people do, is with elixirs here. These just increase. It's really cheap to get. You can usually get these super ones for free. The heroic combos and heroic knowledges that give a multiplier of ×5 are going to be significantly more expensive, so I just mainly use these ones because they're free for most people. And you know what, I don't really care if it takes a little bit longer, but that's just generally how I prefer to go about it. I'm never in any rush to get stuff leveled up too quickly, but that's just how it is. Now, as you're leveling up, you're going to notice for the first 100 levels, your gear really isn't going to matter. You can most of your power is going to come from your armor and your weapons, to be honest. And after about a level 100, the game balance does switch, and it becomes significantly harder as it is geared more towards group content. This means that lixing by yourself is going to become a lot harder, and you're going to want to usually group up with buddies and friends that you have made to level up. And it becomes even harder once you start hitting like level 170 to 180 and beyond that. That's where stuff can really start to get difficult. But hang in there, take your time as you go through things, and it will kind of just come. With gold, though, gold is always a little bit of a controversial topic here, as due to this steep difficulty curve, I see a lot of players getting discouraged because they feel like that they can't progress because they don't have the gold. And to be quite honest, as a game that offers platinum for sale and there is a huge market for it, you really do not need. And it's a huge trap I see new players getting into, as they just spend a lot of gold or a lot of platinum to get gold. And while I think supporting the devs is a good thing, it is not necessary to get into this game. As, again, most of your power comes from your armor and your weapon. You're going to be a lot better off going through your warden quest lines, which can be found in Stoneville first, in this little island over here, for your warden armor and your meteoric. And in the other world, over by Gelobron's Tower from these guys. This is where you get your frozen armor, as you get about like level 130, or level 120, you know, that area. Level 150, you get your Dragonlord armor from Vientia the Bard. And then beyond that, this Exalted Dragonlord, which you get from the bridge, which I can't go there yet in this account. But you know what? This is for getting into the game, and that's some pretty high-end game stuff. So you'll likely know about that by the time you get there. So we'll just kind of stick to the early game stuff up to Dragonlord. And mainly by just keeping up with your armor and keeping up with some basic free jewelry that you can honestly just pick up dirt cheap or free from other players. You can pretty much get through this game pretty easily, because honestly it's about keeping up with your armor and keeping up with an efficient build that is going to really help you, as those expensive jewelries like luxury items that sell for millions of gold, it's like you're gonna outlevel those jewelries just as fast as any free piece of gear that you could pick up, and it's not going to make the game much easier. There are a couple rare exceptions to that, but I mean, those are just, you can usually get those fairly easily, and we'll be covering those in a little bit, which pieces you do want to go for. But first, I want to cover stats. So how do you make an effective build? The first way that I want to talk about is kind of with hot swapping. Hot swapping is a huge power increase that I cannot understate to players. By just swapping these items, I'm saving 8 skill points, like 5 skill points there, 3 there, 4, so that's 7, 15, 20, and then what, maybe like another 20 on this page, 40, so that's almost like a full skill extra that I am running just by hot swapping. And so you probably should be, as it makes it really easy. I have a whole guide on hot swapping that I'll have pinned in the comment section down below or in the description. We'll see when I get there, and that should go over that fully. So now to cover like the stat distribution, I have entire class guides onto that on the channel as well. I'll link those in the bottom as well. To give a basic kind of run over, if you're starting out, Warrior tends to be the easiest that everyone goes to. They're a very beginner friendly game or class to play, and while Rogues are also really good to start off with. And then druids and mages tend to be a little bit more difficult, especially if it's your first character, as they tend to be a little bit more gear intensive. And rangers are also fairly easy, but just to give a basic stat breakdown, strength is basically just going to be however much damage you do. It increases the damage dealt when you attack. Dexterity is going to be raised. That is going to increase your chance of hit on your auto attacks. This does not affect skills in any way. Skill hit rates are determined by your level. So each point in dexterity increases your attack by 1 and your defense by 2. This improves your chance to hit and to dodge attacks. Focus is just going to be your energy, and it's going to be determining basically the damage of some skills for casters. So each point of focus increases your maximum energy by 6.25 equipment weight. So equipment weight does indeed play a role into your energy costs. Do not worry about that. I have never seen that really matter. As a druid, focus will boost the power of all skills, and the same thing would apply to mages as well. And then vitality is just your health. Each point of vitality increases your maximum health. And then you have your health stat here. The sigils are just going to be your out of combat regen rate, which as a starting player, I would highly recommend investing in some sigils. Sigils make the game much easier. And it's an unfortunate case as they are locked in the boxes and in the chests, but you can get them pretty cheap from other players. So health, just your health. Energy is basically your mana bar or your energy bar that you use to cast spells. Attack is going to be determined by your chance to hit, which scales off of your dexterity or any direct attack that your gear may give. Damage is for your auto attacks, just how much damage you do. Defense is chance to dodge. Armor is your damage reduction. And then you have your carried items and your equipment weight, which is all fine and handy. So, so those are the basic stats that you got. And then you also have your abilities. Now, every class has different weapon abilities. So, like, as a druid, I have the staff ability. Rangers are going to have, like, bows. Rogues will have daggers. Warriors, swords or axes or spears. You know, it's just kind of whatever you're using. This weapon ability is one of the more important stats for you to get maxed out, as weapon ability adds to both the damage that you do and your chances to hit by directly affecting your stat or your attack stat. The next stat that I want to cover is, at least for the druid, is the nature magic. Now every class has a class specific skill that affects all of your skill damages. For druids, this is nature magic. Mages have 2, which is fire and ice. And then warriors have melee combat. Rangers have range combat. And rogues have cunning. This just amplifies your skill damage, which I wish it did like a little bit more, but it just amplifies skill damage. First aid is entirely useless. Now we have our basic evasions here. We have fortitude, warding, willpower, reflex, and vigor. Now these are just for evading different kind of attacks, as each attack targets a different defense. Or for different evasion. So spell attack evasion, which is increased by some of those skills. You can always see the flat rate for those down here in the evasion tab. These are just resistances. These are increased by gear as well. And this is like further damage reduction, kind of like armor, but for specific damage types. Critical skills is just going to be your skill crit chance. And scholar is going to be just for like getting lucky experience, and treasure hunter is going to be for lucky gold. Now, when you start out the game, you don't always have these abilities, and they are learned through different quests. It's important to get them leveled up as early, or get them as early as possible so we can start leveling them up on our adventure. And so we will show you where to get them from. So to start out with Lucky Gold and Lucky Experience. Lucky Gold is first found over here, the Treasure Hunter Trainer. You can pick up his quest right from level 1, and I would highly recommend that you do so. These are going to be where you get some class-specific stuff. Warriors are going to get theirs there, Rangers there. Then we get our Scholar Trainer here. And then we got our Critical Skills Trainer here. So you're going to want to visit this NPC early on. And I think Critical Strike. For most classes, you're going to want to learn this one, as this will help you with critting on your normal auto attacks with this quest he gives. But as a caster, I don't really need that. Mages and druids, you guys do not need this, but for any rogues, warriors, or rangers, you guys need to do this quest. And so that is a very important thing to get done. Next, we have our resistance, or our fortitude, reflex, warding, willpower, and vigor. And so they are given by these statues, which I'm heading... Yeah, we're going to head over to one now. And so you guys can kind of see. Got a person over there picking some wheat. That's just for cooking, which is an effective way to make gold. So here we go. We have a statue of Lur here. So yeah, I've already gained the favor of this guy. The other statues can be found here at the causeway steps, back there in that corner. Then you can get one over here by the tavern, back in the corner over there. Then there's another one up here on the northern peninsula. And then the last one is at the second laystone in the Redstone Cavern, right here. This one is the hardest of the quests. It just requires a bunch of stupid drops that you have to get, which can be annoying, but some people have them saved up. But that's just how it is. So now that you have an effective build going, you can really... you are going to find leveling up a lot easier. But as you start leveling up, when you're out leveling all your gear, you're going to want to start finding some good ways to acquire gold. Gold can be acquired through fishing or cooking. You can get into either of those. I personally do not do those, and so I'll leave someone else to make a guide for that. I can always attend bosses as they drop a significant amount of gold. But just be careful that you're not spending more in consumables than you're going to get from the boss. But their items can be worth some stuff. Get a band of friends together and you can just kill them. Merching is going to be another effective way. Merching is probably the most effective get rich way, but it is a very time consuming method. And it's going to probably take up the most time of main ways to do it. You can also run different gold bosses. There are various gold boss spawns around Karamore tunnels when you start reaching later into the game. They just kind of spawn and you can kill them, and they drop like a good 10 to 20,000 per. And so you can often see people cycling through them very often. You just gotta kind of get a monopoly on their spawns, keep them timed, and you'll be fine with that. Now, once you do have some gold, you're going to want to spend it. And I'm going to be honest, 90% of the gear in this game is shit. It's not worth paying for. So, especially in the luck shops. And most of that, I just use base armor until I'm level 60, which is when I get the Warden armor. And I just follow that quest, like your quest line armor, all the way up through until endgame. Because that's just the best armor until endgame. But there's a few luck shops around. Most of them. The first one that you're probably going to encounter here is the Scavenger. We ignore the one in Castle. Utterly worthless. He kind of stands outside the arena. Don't ever buy anything from him. The only thing here that's ever worth buying that I have found is the weapons. The offhand weapons. The tridents, the quivers, and the blades. The grimoires are good. The orbs are pretty useless. Grimoires in general are pretty overpowered. Don't buy orbs. And plus the grimoires look better. Jewelry, ignore this all. It's all really bad. Ignore all the shields and the helmets and the crowns. Again, it's all really bad. There's no reason to ever break your auras for a Lux helm. It's not worth it. So the Scavenger is probably one of the better shops, surprisingly. But after the Scavenger, we encounter our next luxury shop at level 100. And it can be found over here, Cabri the Squire. Although he's going to ask me to do some quests, I don't need anything from him. The only thing worth buying here is a level 100 haste ring. That is it. Don't buy anything else from him. Again, I repeat, don't buy anything else from this guy. Just a level 100 haste ring if you are an auto attacker. Because that piece of jewelry will actually last you a very long time. There's another vendor over here where you can see his quest. I wouldn't do it or get anything from him. It's pretty useless. I think that the Triumph axes, they're pretty good. But, I mean, they get outscaled very quickly. But for their level 150 item threshold, or item level requirement, and they're pretty good. They are pretty good. After that, I do want to cover here in Dunskig. There is the Lost Item Merchant. So this is the biggest trap luxury shop. And I'm gonna show you guys it just so you can kind of go into like some detail about it. Maybe he does have something good there that I can't afford. There are only two things in his shop that are ever worth buying, and that's going to be your Reaper rings and your Huntsman rings. I'm listening. I shall. Boom. Oh, he's going to ask me for a quest. Anyway, don't get anything from him. It's all overpriced. His gear comes in several 100,000 gold per piece. No, thank you. Only the Reaper ring and the Huntsman rings are worth it, as Reaper rings are one of the better DPS rings for rogues and rangers, and Huntsman rings are some of the best tank rings for warriors if they want to go that route. After that comes the level 180 luxury shop. Unfortunately, I can't go there, but it's in the Infernal Armories. Again, don't get anything from it, because there is an identical luxury shop at level 200 in Summoning. And that is actually a really good luxury shop. The runic necklaces of Valor are some of the best DPS necklaces in the game. The runic rings of Valor are really good options until you get some raid gear upgrades from them, but they are really cheap. And for 450k, being able to get one of the best endgame rings for at least being a DPS is really solid. The braces aren't that good. And then in the Corrupted Gardens area, you have your two faction shops. No class needs anything from there except for tanks. Which tanks you're going to want to grind Lich Faction 4 when you get there. And because the Lich rings are the best tank rings in the game. So, apart from that, kind of just go about it at your own pace. It's all a journey that we're on, and I hope to see you here. The server that I play on is Crom, and my clan is Seed. If you're always... And, if you have any further questions, you can always drop me a question in game or on Discord if you have it. And thank you all for listening and watching today's episode video, and hopefully we'll see you all next time. Peace.